Number 1. My mother had been a drug addict my entire life. When I was younger, she constantly had people coming and going, and it seemed that the majority of the time, these people were shady. I thought I'd share one experience that still bothers me quite a bit. I was about 12 years old at the time. I was sitting on the couch watching Drake and Josh. I think it was when there came a knock at the door. My mum wasn't home, so I decided to turn off the TV and remain quiet.
Eloise, you home?
It was a man.
I just wanted to drop something off, Eloise.
I stayed quiet.
Eloise, open the damn door. I'm not gonna hurt you.
At this point I was scared. Even as a 12-year-old, when someone says they're not going to hurt you, there's generally something they did in the past that would prompt them to reassure someone of that, right? He started rattling the door handle.
I swear to God, I will break down this door. You've been ignoring my calls, my texts. You cannot run from me.
He began pounding and kicking on the door. I ran to the bathroom because it was the only door with a lock, and hid in the bathtub with the curtain drawn. I decided to take my bath gun. I had not yet outgrown playing with toys during bath time, and I put a little water in it and a little shampoo as well. At that point I heard what sounded like splitting wood, and then footsteps in my living room. I heard him go from room to room, all the while yelling,
Eloise, you can't ignore me now.
Finally, he came to the bathroom door and tried the handle.
Oh, so you're in here, huh?
More pounding. He kicked the door in and stood still for a few moments before ripping open the curtain and peering down at me. He had slicked back, black hair with piercing green eyes, and a sad attempt at facial hair. He wore a black hooded sweatshirt, black jeans, black shoes, and he held a brown bag in one of his tattoo-covered hands.
Oh, ha ha ha. Even better. I've seen you around here before. You're Eloise's daughter. So sweet.
He kept repeating that.
So sweet.
It made my skin crawl. He walked over to the window and locked it before squatting next to me.
You're gonna come with me. How about that? I'll go buy you some ice cream.
I glared at him, trying my best not to look terrified.
Not much of a talker. Your mother could learn a thing from you.
He reached his hand out and rested it on my shoulder. In one quick motion, I pulled out my squirt gun from under my leg and began spraying it in his face. He didn't register it at first, but quickly began wiping his eyes.
What the hell is this? What the hell? What the hell?
I hurled my body at him, causing him to fall back and hit his head on the toilet. I grabbed the brown paper bag and ran from the bathroom, out into the hallway and down the stairs. I caught my mum on the entrance of the steps and pulled her in the other direction.
What's going on? You're making me drop my things.
I remembered a head of a lettuce rolling away. Be free, my lettuce friend. She quickly caught on that something was terribly wrong and ran with me to my aunt's house. After catching my breath, I described the man and what he did. She quickly recognised him as the man named Tony, who she owed a lot of money to. I realised I was still holding the brown paper bag that the man had and gave it to my mum. She found a gun inside. He had showed up to kill my mother. Number 2. Please note, the images used are the ones from the original post. First, a little background. My family's house is a 100-year-old apple orchard estate. The house was abandoned and renovated in the 70s by a couple. They grew older and the wife was told she could no longer have children. Against the diagnosis of the doctors, she conceived and had 2 daughters. When one of the girls was 5 years old, she fell from a tree in the front garden and died on the spot. The husband became severely depressed and locked himself in his study. The study is now my younger brother's bedroom. This room went virtually unchanged when we got possession of the house. Anyway, the husband was so depressed that he hung himself from a large old tree that was in the back garden. It's dead smack in the centre, and the wife moved out and sold the house 20 years later, and she then sold it to my dad in 1998. Since then, it has undergone full renovation with additions, but the study has remained the same. My dad likes it for the wood panelling walls with built-in shelves, as it looks very rustic. The 2 trees involved though, the little girl's climbing tree and the hanging tree, remain where they are. The tree where the girl died is thriving and beautiful, but the father tree is dead and ready to be cut down. The thing is, when the couple lived here, the trees were placed under law never to be cut down, so my father has no choice but to leave them standing. He says he's afraid to cut them down anyways. He wants to remove the back one because it's a creepy eyesore straight from The Conjuring, but he is legitimately terrified that it will subsequently kill the beautiful tree in the front of the house. Here is where things get interesting. I first would like to start off by saying that I know for a fact that I close more doors than I open. I have many siblings, but the door that opens most frequently is the one to my older brother's room. This is of course the prior master bedroom, the one that the couple used to reside in when they owned it. Unfortunately, this is the only room with a view to the suicide tree. My brother lives in Boston, so he's never home. The room is never touched and the door remains closed until about 3 AM. Every night when I wake up to go to the bathroom, it's cracked open about 1/3 of the way. This happened most nights, but isn't much of a story. The real experience is indisputable in the back of my mind. I'm sitting in the basement watching TV, in the only downstairs room which has a door leading to the backyard where the suicide tree is. I'm alone, and it's about 1 AM. No one else is in the house. Out of nowhere, I feel my head being pulled by the right ear. At first, I don't think anything of it, since I have 4 siblings. I about died when I remembered my solitude. I snapped my head around as the sensation stopped, and I observed the continued silence besides the quiet television. I waited for about 30 seconds before I decided that it might be time to leave that room, when the large old wood-framed comfy chair cracks in half. I run the hell out of there and straight to my bedroom on the 2nd floor, where I lock the door and leave the lights on. My conclusion is that the father is a very mean spirit that constantly torments my brothers, as our room overlooks the backyard, but the little girl watches over my sisters, which have a bedroom overlooking the girl's tree at the front. My sisters are always telling stories of how they sometimes will hear laughter in the front yard on quiet days. Our dogs absolutely love the front yard tree, but refuse to even go to the backyard. In fact, none of us like going deep into the backyard, because it has a vibe about it that deters anyone and anything. It is strong and definitely there. It is far-fetched, I know, But what happens isn't a coincidence in my mind. Something physical affected me, and you'd have to be a blind quadriplegic not to notice the signs that I experienced. Number 3. Living across from a busy convenience store can be both miserable and entertaining. Last winter I was heading out of the store making my way back home when I had walked past a parked but running tan Dodge van.
You need a ride?
I said no and made the stupid mistake of saying, I live just right there. It didn't seem like a big deal at the time, because I had my husband waiting for my return just on the porch, and thought that the guy was just generally concerned because it was freezing weather out. Whilst my husband and I carried on with our night, I started to realise the guy was still over there in his van, which was parked perfectly, facing us whilst we sat on our porch. My husband made it clear to him that we knew we were being watched, and that we were watching him. So the van eventually drove off. But he started to drive by more, about 5 minutes later breaking his neck to look at me. Every time we thought we had seen the last of him, there he was again. So my husband went back out to the sidewalk, giving the driver the "what the hell" arm stretch, and he finally got lost. I think we called it a night and went back inside, peeking at the blinds every once in a while. The next day, I noticed the same coloured van parked a few blocks away in view of our house, but I'm not sure if it was him, and I damn well know I wasn't going to walk out there and find out. I didn't see the guy again for what seemed like forever, but I'm a paranoid person, so I was constantly looking around and staring down every tan Dodge van that drove by the house. Some weeks go by and I'm walking the same route and realise that I'm walking past a tan Dodge van that is running. I slowly make my way, walking past the rolled down window, when there he is, smiling freakishly at me. And in the midst of the most eerie deja vu, he asks me,
Do you need a ride?
I am livid, and say to him harshly, no. I am confused as he's already asked me, and why is he even doing this? He started chuckling a bit as I pick up the pace and try not to scoot away too quickly. As I'm jogging across the street, I feel his presence on me as he's pulling onto the street near me. Almost hitting me, he laughs whilst asking,
Do you need a ride?
I'm bursting through the door, nearly in tears at this point. My husband is concerned, and I tell him the freaky stuff that just happened. We agreed to call the police and report the man for harassing me. They told me though that he didn't actually do anything that was considered harassment, and said that all they could do was maybe pull over and tell him to knock it off. I haven't seen this man since, and hope to never meet him again. Hey guys, it's Mort here and thank you so much for listening. You may have noticed that the last 2 stories are re-uploads from a collaboration I did with Frybro. There were a lot of complaints that no one could hear what I was saying, so to give you fine viewers the opportunity to listen, I'm featuring them again. If you enjoyed these stories, it would be great if you could let me know by leaving a like, comment or sharing this video with a friend. And to keep up to date with all new videos, be sure to spam that subscribe button and join the coven. Also, if you have an experience you want to share, be sure to send it to my email, which can be found in the description below. I just need one more story to make my first subscriber special, guys, so if you have one, please send it over. I'd love to hear it. And whilst you're still here, why not check out some of my other content by clicking on the links on screen now? Go on, you don't need sleep tonight. Also, huge shout out to Kelly Gorecki for spotting the Easter eggs in my 3 short stories video. And lastly, I just want to say thank you guys. Your support on this channel really means so much. I really wasn't expecting to hit 300 subscribers so quickly. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you so much for the support, seriously. But for now guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.